welcome. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup. And today we are going over my February repurchase review. And for those of you who are new here, the repurchase review is something I do at the end of every month where I go over everything I featured on my channel for that month and whether or not I would buy it again if I were starting over. So what my current thoughts are, any updates and so forth. I also include some favorites that I'm currently using at the end of the video as well. Those may or may not be things from the current month. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, first up, we're going to start with the two Surratt quads. Now, the two Surratt quads that came out, I actually had the singles, aside from the Noir, Le Plus Noir shade, which was the black. I had a different black. So I already put them back in my palette. So I don't have them separated anymore. But there's the Cosmos palette and the Supernova palette. And between the two of them, I prefer the Supernova. I just think it's a little bit more unique. And there's a slightly better price value for it as well because it has 3 hologram shadows, which are a little bit more expensive than the regular eyeshadows. Whereas the other one has, is it 2 holograms? Yes, 2 holograms in the Cosmos palette. So slightly, very minimally better deal for the Supernova palette compared to the Cosmos. Now, if you already have any of these shades, I would recommend just buying singles to recreate them. But I really like both of them. They are both color stories that I would repurchase. I personally like having them as singles. So I would purchase them as singles because I like to be able to mix and match them very easily. So these are my Surratt singles, and they don't come in a magnetic pan. It's just a plastic pan with a sticker, but I use a magnetic sticker and keep them in an Adept Cosmetics palette. So I've got the blushes on one side. These are some new shadows from Surratt I haven't used yet, and so forth. So yes, a repurchase for both of them, but if I were picking one, it would be the Supernova palette because not only is it a slightly better value, that Supernova shade is incredibly unique. So if you're not interested in the palettes, but you like that shade, I would definitely look into purchasing that individually. It is only available on Surratt.com though. It's an exclusive and it is just stunning. Let me swatch that real quickly. So this is a Supernova shade and you can see just on my finger how you've got like green and blue. And then if you look at the outline, it's like this pinky purple shade. It's like a duochrome shade here. So this is it on its own. Let me show you what it looks like on a deep base. So this black shade here is the Dark Matter that was originally released with the hologram shades. And look at that. Not getting quite as much shine on the camera, but you can see how like much greener it looks, but yet you still get this like duochrome look to it. It's really such a unique shade. So I highly recommend at least the Supernova shade. Next up, I also purchased a perfume this month, and this is the Isia La Nuit from Sicily. And I personally really like this scent. When you first put it on, it smells a little like peppery and a little bit more masculine. And after it dries down and reacts with my skin chemistry, it's this like really fruity scent with some rose in there. And it's just a really nice combination. It's the type of scents that I personally really enjoy. I love fruity and rose scents. So this is why I like it's kind of unique because you can smell that it's very complex. So, you know, it's definitely a multi-dimensional scent and I really like this one. So by the way, this is the medium size. This one is 1.6 fluid ounces. And yes, I would repurchase it. While we're talking about Sicily, let's go ahead and talk about more Sicily items. So first up, we have the Sicily So Stretch Mascara. I purchased the shade Brown, which is number 2. And I love this mascara. It's great for like lengthening and separation. And if you put on one coat, it's great for like natural everyday. You can build it up to get something a little bit more voluminous, but really it's more of a lengthening mascara. The brown shade in particular, I love brown mascaras. I think they look very natural, very everyday. So I'm very happy with this. It is an expensive mascara. Can you get a similar effect from something less expensive? You can, however, I personally really appreciate this brush and the actual formula. I haven't had any issues with flakiness, wear time, or anything like that with this. So for me, it's a repurchase. And more from Sisley, I started off with a couple of the Sisley blushes, and I ended up purchasing all 6 of them. So these are the Lafito blush. That first shade I showed was number 3 Coral. This is number 1 Pink Peony. And they come with this, zebra print magnetic case here. There's a mirror at the top. This is number 2 Rosy Fuchsia. And then we also have a couple of different shades. So this one here is number 5 Rosewood. Now the 4 that I have shown you so far all have kind of this luminous matte effect on the skin. You can see just looking at the pan that there's no like shimmer or anything in here, but it does have a luminous quality on your skin. So I absolutely love them. I love the way they look. These 4 in particular would be my 4 favorites. For absolute top favorites, I'm kind of tied between this one here, number 5 Rosewood, and number 3 Coral. And this one's Coral. So these are my 2 favorites. I also really love the bright pink Rosy Fuchsia one. So there are, as I mentioned, a couple of other items. So we've got number 6, which is called Shimmer. This is a highlight. I think it's nice, but I think there are better highlighters out there. So although I think it works really well, it's not quite the same formula as these other blushes. I mean, I suppose it probably is technically, but it has so much shimmer that it feels differently. And yeah, I mean, it's not a super sparkly highlight or anything, but you can see that it's almost like there's like a beige base to it. And, it goes on nicely. It works well. It looks good with my skin coloring. But I just think there are better highlighters out there. So the shimmer shade, I mean, honestly, I would repurchase it just to complete my collection. But otherwise, yeah, I would pass on that. I'd go with one of the Chanel highlighters or something instead. This shade here is another one that is different. This is number 4, Golden Rose. And you can kind of see in here some gold shimmer. This is really more of a highlighting blush. And you can see, let me make that swatch a little deeper, but you can see that there is gold shimmer in here, and it's just, here we go. You can see that gold reflect. So it's different, it's unique. I like it. So that one is a repurchase. Actually, 1 through 5 are all ones that I would repurchase. Shimmer, I personally would repurchase just to, I'm a little bit of a completionist, but otherwise this one I would pass on. Moving on to Tom Ford. So I purchased the Virgin Orchid quad. This is number 27. It's not a new color story, but it was new to me. And I do really like this quad. Just swatch this one quickly. So here are the swatches of Virgin Orchid. Yeah, I think it's a nice quad to have in my collection. I would repurchase this one. Moving on, we have a couple of items from Chanel. So last month I had purchased the items that I wanted from the Chanel Blanc collection, which wasn't very much. But then I ended up making another purchase. So I picked up the highlighter. This is the Pearl de Lumiere. And I originally passed on this because I thought it'd be too dark, too gold for me. But I use it lightly with a fan brush and it actually looks very nice. I have it on today. You can see that it's really not too dark. And then the other item I picked up from the LeBlanc collection is another one of the Stilo Ombre Contours. This is number 38, which is called Burgundy Perle. And I think it's a nice shade, but I was hoping it was a little bit cooler in tone than it is. It's a little bit warmer than I thought. So, I like it, but I don't love it. It's not a repurchase for me. However, the one I picked up first, the Beige Perle, that one, definite repurchase. I'm actually considering picking up a second one before it goes because it is limited edition. Let me show you that one. So here is Beige Perle. And you can see it's a little bit more shimmery than the burgundy. And it's just this beautiful taupey soft brown shade. I really like it. So between the two of them, you don't really see any shimmer in the Burgundy Perle, which kind of surprised me. I was looking forward to seeing a little shimmer there. And let's move on to SUQQU. So I picked up the SUQQU Spring 2021 collection. So we have the butterfly quad here. This one is a little bit loose. It's not really adhering to the pan anymore because I dropped it, fell out. So I'm not gonna hold it up more vertically than this. But we have these beautiful soft shades. Now this palette retails for $72. And let me just move my sleeve here. So the pans are fairly small for that. I think it's a beautiful quad. I really like the colors in here. However, I don't think it's worth it. I would not repurchase it. This, duochrome shade, it really looks gold. There's a little bit of green glint in there, and I guess it's supposed to be like a multi-chrome, like pink and so forth in there. I don't really see it. So on my eyes today, I have the Tom Ford Insolent Rose, and I used the pink glitter shade with the Inglot Duraline product to dampen it, make it stay a little bit better. But I tapped a tiny bit of this SUQQU shade right here in the middle. And you can see a little bit more of the green while it's wet, but again, it's still not that impactful. It's not what I was expecting. So other than that, I do really like the colors. I think they look good on me. I love these like taupey shades. The peach shade kind of blends in a lot with my lid, so it's not that noticeable, but I don't know. I think the palette to me just isn't as special as what I was hoping for. And I feel like although these brown shades are, these shades are just a little bit too ordinary for this palette, in my opinion. And they should have replaced it with something a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more unique, because we really don't need two of these like taupey shades. We've got like a warmer version and a cooler version. And then this light peach. I just feel like this was an opportunity to do something more unique, maybe put in something similar to like either the blue or the purple that's on the actual palette. So for me, it's not a repurchase. And I also picked up the new lip cheeks from the collection, and I've been wearing these a lot. So they are a repurchase. The one that I like the least is the Peach Blossom, and I actually really love the color on other people. It's just a little bit warmer for my skin tone than what I typically wear. I would repurchase all three of them, but if I were trying to be good, I would stick with Clover as my number one, Hyssop as my number two. And this one here is Hyssop, and it's really not as dark as it looks. So all of these lip cheeks, they have, kind of like a sheer quality to them. This one here is Clover, and it's just a really pretty soft pink. And let me just show you Peach Blossom here. So Peach Blossom is actually a little bit more opaque than Clover or Hyssop, in my opinion. You can see it's a nice warm peach shade. So I really like all three of these. I would repurchase the lip cheeks, particularly Clover and Hyssop. Moving on to SUQQU. Now on my eyes, I actually have the gray eyeliner that came out just recently from SUQQU. It is limited edition, and I haven't done an actual review on it yet on my channel. I filmed it, but I haven't uploaded it. I haven't edited yet, but it's a felt tip, liquid gray eyeliner. I really like it. So I've worn it a few times now. I've got it on today. It goes on very smoothly. It lasts well. And I just think it's a unique color. So I picked up the gray and the orange. I haven't tried the orange one yet, but the gray one is really nice. And I will include it with my video on this one. This is the SUQQU 05 quad. And again, I haven't put this one up yet. So I'll probably talk about this one in my March repurchase review. But it is a repurchase for me. I really like this quad. Now, this month, I covered a couple of other quads. So this is the 101 limited edition SUQQU quad. I love this quad. I love this color story here. And I purchased the gray eyeliner specifically to go with this, but I wasn't able to get it right away. It kept selling out. So That's why I didn't pair them together, but I just love the color story. I love the versatility of these. This shimmery shade has like a bluish tone to it. You've got this shade here, which is kind of like a bluish gray. They call it purple. Doesn't really look purple to me. And then you have these like orangey shades. This one's a little bit more like more pumpkin, and this one's more like burnt pumpkin, or like with a little cinnamon in it. So I think it's, I don't know, I just love this combination. This is one I would repurchase. It is limited edition though, so if you're able to get it, I'd recommend it. But unfortunately, I haven't really seen it stocked again after the, I think the second restock. So that one I love. Actually, all of these SUQQU quads I love. I couldn't remember if I covered this one in my January ones. I posted this right at the end of January. This is the 06 SUQQU quad. And I mean, these are my colors. So yes, this is a repurchase for me. Let's see if I can squeeze these swatches on. We'll put them here. I love it. And then this is the 01 quad. And in photos, it was hard to tell how these two shades compare to the 05, but they're actually very, very different in my opinion. I really like them. And if you're interested, I do have swatches of all of the SUQQU palettes that I picked up. There's a separate video with swatches and comparisons. So I will leave that linked down below. In addition to those items, I also picked up the SUQQU blushes for spring 2021. And these are limited edition. We have number 124 and 125. So the lighter part is actually like a highlight, or you can mix them all together. These are very light, soft, subtle colors. So, you know, they're very buildable, but they are not super pigmented. I really like them. I think they give a really, really soft look to the skin, and I would repurchase them. Now let's move on to Merit. And these items were actually gifted to me. And first up, we're going to talk about the complexion stick. So they call it a perfecting complexion stick. And this I really like. I have been wearing this for about 2 weeks now. And, you know, this is it with it like turned all the way down. So I don't use a lot of product at one time. That being said, there is not a ton of product in here. Let me just show you what it looks like, twist it all the way up. I have to say, I don't like this packaging for a couple of reasons. You know, I think it looks fine when you just like look at it, but using it, I'm not a fan of it. So this is all the way up. You can see the white part here. And you can see I haven't used like a ton of it. That's 2 weeks worth. But one of the questions I've gotten a lot is about like price per wear, or, you know, price per ounce and so forth. I haven't really looked at the math yet, but it's not a cheap product. Definitely admit that. This is a snap top. The reason I don't like this packaging is because you've got the part that turns and the lid, and they both look the same, right? I mean, let's face it, I don't go and read to see, oh, which side is closer to the M, which one should I pull on? I just kind of look for the lid and I pull, but sometimes I pull on this end by mistake, and it's a tight fit. It's hard to get it off. You kind of have to pull hard. So I don't love the packaging, but I really love this product that's in here. I've been using it a lot. I have it on today, and usually, and like what I did today, I'll put like 3 lines here. So I put one like here, and then a couple lines here, and then sometimes I'll add like a little extra. I put some on my forehead and sometimes like a little bit around my mouth. I just like to use my fingers to kind of blend it out. So I'm not getting product all over my face, but I'm providing coverage in the areas that I'd like to, and it's really an imperceptible blend. So I really do like this, and I would repurchase this at the current time. I will have an update on these products. I'm going to be using the Merit stick for a while just to see how quickly it kind of gets used up. Now, also from Merit, this is the brush. This is brush number 1. I think it's a nice brush. It's a little bit soft. It was designed to use with the minimalist stick. I think it's a little bit too soft for that, but I do like it for using it with blush products. So actually this is their blush product, and I find the blush, it has a sheer base, and I think it's pretty similar to the Ritual Defee nectar bombs, the color nectar pigment bombs. So I have, between the two of them, I haven't looked up to see which one's like a better price or anything like that, but I do like the blush. I would repurchase this or a Ritual Defee. I don't know which. Honestly, they seem very similar to me, but I do kind of prefer the packaging of the Ritual Defee because it's just like, you know, let me show you. So it's just like this little compact product here, and I like to use it with a brush. So this is just really easy to get it evenly coated on my blush, whereas with the dome top, you know, you're getting more like in the middle of the brush versus the sides. So yeah, I prefer the packaging on this. That being said, I think the Merit's actually a better price. I believe this was somewhere around like $28, $30 for this, which is 0.31 ounces or 9 grams. The Ritual Defee is, I can't remember, but it's similar in price, maybe 25, 28, something like that. And this one is 0.11 ounces, so 3.2 grams. Oops. So the Merit is a better buy between the two of these. I like both products equally, and honestly, they feel very similar on my skin. I can't really tell difference on my skin. So just to summarize so far for the Merit items, the complexion stick, I would repurchase. The blush, I would repurchase. The brush, I would not. You know, I think it's okay, and you know, it's a nice brush, but I have others that I actually prefer. So this one I would skip. Also from Merit, we have the highlighting stick. I'm not really a fan of this packaging. You know, this one's easier to open than the complexion stick. This like particular plastic, I think looks a little cheap, so I'm not a fan of it. The highlighting stick looks nice when you first put it on, but you can see now that I've used it, do you see like a little bit of like oil kind of balling up on there? It's very dewy, and you know, I don't know. I don't love it. So I would not repurchase the highlight. However, the mascara, which I have on my lashes today, I love the mascara. It's a really nice tubing mascara. It gives a really natural look. You can, you know, I actually think it looks a little bit more voluminous than the Victoria Beckham one. However, so the mascara I would repurchase. The brow gel I have been using, you know, every day since I got it. I really like the brow gel, and this is something I would repurchase as well. And last from Merit, we have one of the lip oils. This is called the Shade Slick, and I have the shade Pink Beat, and it's a much warmer tone than what I was thinking. I forget how they described it, but I thought, for some reason, I thought it was like cooler in tone than it is. And yeah, so I actually really like the formula. I think it's very comfortable on the lips. This particular color, it looks okay, but it's not my favorite shade. So I would pick up more of these in other colors. They have a very limited selection right now, so we'll have to see if they expand it. But texturally, I would say it's got a little bit of the feeling of the Sisley Lafido glosses mixed with a lip oil. So it's kind of like that hybrid thing. It doesn't have that greasy feeling to it. So I really appreciate the actual formula on my lips. Moving on to Dior. We've got quite a few products from Dior. This was a Dior heavy month. So this is the primer. I haven't done a formal review on this primer, but I have gone over it in a couple of videos so far. And this is the Forever Skin Veil primer, and it's new. It's SPF 20. Again, don't count on this for sunscreen protection. You're not putting on enough to really get any real coverage there. I actually love this primer. I don't love the scent. It is very strongly scented. It has the normal like floral perfume scent that Dior products have. And when you first put it on, it's a little overwhelming. It does fade and go away. I don't smell it on my skin the rest of the day or anything like that. But what I love about this is it's a very moisturizing primer. If you have very dry skin and you are looking for something moisturizing, that still works very well with other, you know, foundations and different formulas. This may be a good option because I have tested it with 5 different foundations so far, and it's worked well with all of them. It's worked with the Merit stick. It's worked with my Clé de Peau. It's worked with my Coach & Dough foundations, both Moisture and Aqua. It's worked with the Guerlain High Perfection, the Chanel Le Beige. Well, maybe I did test it on more than 5. So I've also tested it with the Westman Atelier foundation stick. I have not had any compatibility issues with it, with any item I've tested it with so far. And what it does is, even if you're using like a matte foundation or something, you know how sometimes when you're using a moisturizing primer, it kind of takes away a little bit of that matte look. It does not do that. This primer really still keeps the finish of the foundation, but then when you touch your skin, you still have that freshly moisturized feeling to your skin. So, you know, it's still got like, it's a little dewy to the touch, even though it doesn't look it. And so I really do like this primer. So, you know, I've gotten a few questions if I like it better than my Surratt primer. I don't, but they're different. So when my skin's really dry and I don't, you know, I want to make sure I'm not accentuating any dryness, or I want a dewy look, this is what I would reach for. Whereas the Surratt, I love that for canceling out the, you know, greasy sunscreen look that I get after putting on my sunscreen. And it's a little bit more mattifying. So it kind of depends what you're looking for. So for a moisturizing primer, I really, really like this one. I also picked up the Dior Forever cushion, powder cushion. And I have shade 50 lavender, and this hasn't made it to the US website yet. I purchased this one on Selfridges. Hopefully it'll be on the US site soon. I like this powder, but I haven't decided how much yet. It's one of those like kind of wet powders, like a hydra powder. And I love the color of it, but I have noticed in certain situations that it accentuates texture. So I think it works better on top of matte foundations than it does on top of dewier looks, because I think then it just kind of adheres a little bit too heavily in certain areas and it just doesn't look even. So I think it kind of depends what you wear it with. So I do like it, but you know, I have to be careful what I use it with. So I'm happy I have it. I don't know. I don't think I would purchase a second one though. And then I also picked up another one of the Dior lip pencils, and this one here is the shade 760 Favorite. So we have one side with a lip brush, and then this is Favorite. And it really looks much more like a burgundy shade on the website. Their colors are totally off on their swatches, but you can see that it's like a brighter red shade. And I really like it. I'm very happy with it. I love the formula of their new lip liners. So I would definitely repurchase this shade and additional ones. And then I also picked up one of the eyeliners, and this is one that came out with the holiday collection. It's a black sparkly. It's a little bit of a drier formula, which I haven't quite made my mind up on this yet, but I would definitely purchase this particular one. It lasted well on my skin. I like the sparkle, and you know, it's kind of like matte black with sparkle. It goes on well, but I haven't decided if I like the drier formula like this or something a little bit creamier more, but no problems with it. I would pick up this particular one again. I haven't decided if I'll pick up more of these or not. I gotta play with this one more. And then we have some Dior Quince. And I ran out of room to swatch. I'm not going to swatch all of these, but this is Wild Brown, 529 Wild Brown. And I have a giveaway going on for these now. So if you haven't checked out my Dior ranking video, be sure to check that out to see the information on the giveaway. So this is one of the limited edition Spring Quince. And then 639 Blooming Bouquet is the other one. So this is also part of the giveaway. And I really like both of these. I would pick up both of these again. If I were trying to be good, I'd go with Blooming Bouquet over Wild Brown, just because I love these like lavender type shades in here. I think it's really beautiful. But honestly, they're both fantastic. So I would definitely repurchase both of them. Actually, all of these Dior Quince that I have here today, I would repurchase. I'm really loving them. Black Bow here. This is another one. This is one of my favorite Quince now. So this mauve shade here, let me just swatch this particular one and this silver shade. These two are incredible. Squeeze them in down here. I absolutely love them. And they make this palette so much more versatile than what you would expect for something with grays and blacks. Then we have Plum Tulle. I think this is a nice palette as well. My two favorites here would be this one and this middle shade here. And I think, again, you've got a really nice quint here. I would pick it up, but it's not my favorite of the quints. So if I was trying to be good and cut back, this would be one that I would cut from my purchase list. So that's everything for my repurchase review. If I were trying to really narrow down my few favorites from this month's purchases, I think I would have to go with a few of the Dior quints. So the Dior Black Bow, Blue Moon Bouquet, Wild Brown, those are all favorites. Out of those three, I think Black Bow is probably, you know, not only is that one permanent, which kind of gives it a little bit of edge, but, you know, yeah, I think Black Bow and Blue Moon Bouquet would be my favorites out of those. I think the Dior primer is another standout item, particularly for those of us who have drier skin. My skin's normal, but it leans dry, and at this time of year, it's a little bit drier. So, you know, I think it's a great primer for that. From Merit, I really like the complexion stick. Again, I'll be testing that further because I think it is a very pricey product for what you get. So we'll see how long that product actually lasts. So I have taken some photos from where I am today, and we'll see, you know, kind of how fast it wears down from there. And other standout items to me this month would be the Sisley Igel La Nuit, if you're looking for a perfume. The Surratt Supernova shade, you know, the whole palette is awesome as well if you don't have any of those, but if you do have some already, definitely that Supernova single is incredible. Of course, the Sisley blushes. And again, if I had to narrow it down, I would go with Rosewood or Coral because, well, for me, in my collection, Rosewood is the most unique. I don't have a shade like that already. The coral is just super wearable. So those are my two top favorites. And I really like that luminous matte finish on there, but you can't go wrong with any of them, to be honest. And then other standouts from this month would be the Sisley So Stretch Mascara. I really like that. And the SUQQU eyeshadow palettes. So between the ones that I had this month, I think 101 and 06, those are my two favorites so far. But the 01 quad really surprised me. I wasn't sure how much I would like it when I saw it in person. Like the photos online, you know, they can be, you know, photos can be a little deceiving. So sometimes it looked really pink, sometimes it looked really neutral. And it's actually a very great palette. I would definitely pick up all of those again. So it's actually really hard to narrow that down there. But I definitely love those. Those are probably my standout products from this month. Those would be my favorites out of these items that I picked up. Now, other favorite items that I have been using a lot, honestly, I've been using these products so much that I don't have too much to add. So let me go ahead and add just a few items here. All right, so I have been testing eyeshadows all month, so I haven't really strayed from those and used other things. So eyeshadows we're gonna kind of skip over, but there are some additional items that I've been using a lot when I can. One of them are the SUQQU liquid lipsticks. This one here is the Glow in 103. This is a limited edition shade. It's what I have on my lips today. I really love these. I love their formula. They are similar to the Chanel Locks, but I like the SUQQU ones better. Chanel does have a better color selection, but you know, yeah, I really like these. That being said, I do really like the Dark Blossom from the Chanel Spring Collection as well. Powder wise, I have been using the Guerlain Meteorites in Pearl Glow a lot. So this is one that came out for the spring. If you have the light ones, you know, it's not that different. It's not something that you have to get, but I do really like this one. It's a little bit more shimmery than the light ones, but it's not as shimmery as the Golden Bee ones that came out for the holidays. So I've been using this for finishing powder almost every day. Still loving and using the Gucci bronzer, and I have 01 Fair. You can see I don't really use much. I mean, considering I've been using this thing for like 6 months, you know, you can still see Gucci written in here. So I don't use a ton of product at once. It's going to last me a long time, but I really like it. I really like the color. In addition, I've also still been using the Chanel Fleur de Printemps duo a lot. I usually mix the two shades together. I'm really loving this duo. I think it is one of my favorite blush combos from Chanel. Also for powder, I have been using my Coach & Dough in Blurring Beige quite a bit. This is the Brightening Moisture Powder, and originally they only had this shade. They have since come out with a pink one. I did order it as soon as it was released. My package is lost in the mail, so it was supposed to be delivered, you know, I guess about 2 weeks ago now, and it's still not here yet. So I don't know. It's not Coach & Dough's fault. That's where I ordered, but it did kind of get lost in the mail after, you know, during all of the storms and everything with Texas, and it just hasn't been sorted out yet. So I still don't have it. And then another favorite here is going to be the Burberry Essentials Glow Palette. This is the fair one. Still using this, you know, like all the time when I'm not testing things. So some days I use the blushes, sometimes the highlights, sometimes the contour, but I'm pretty much using something from here almost every day. So I'm really enjoying this particular palette. And just a few other lip products I've been reaching for a lot. So I have been reaching for the Chantecaille shade in Clover. That's this really light pink. I'm using that a lot. For reds, I've been using the new Guerlain Kiss Kiss or Tender Kiss Matte. And this is shade 999. Let me just swatch this real quickly. And where can we put this? This one here. So this is 999 in the Guerlain. Not the best swatch there. And then I've also been using the 999 in Dior. This is the velvet version. And you can see that, you know, they're both 999. They're very different. The Guerlain's much cooler and the Dior is more of a brighter, warmer red, but it's still, you know, neutral. It's got warmth to it, whereas this one's pretty cool. So that's the interesting thing about these. These are both still fairly neutral on the spectrum, but this one leans cool and this one leans warm, because when you look at them, particularly next to each other, you notice more orange shades in here, which gives it, you know, with those warmer undertones. And here you can see how much cooler it is in comparison to that. But if you isolate them and you kind of drag it out, you can kind of see that you're not getting like a ton of pink in here and you're not getting a ton of orange in here. So overall, they're still really balanced. It's just that they lean a little bit more towards one spectrum than the other. And when you put them next to each other, it's more of a dramatic, you notice it a little bit more dramatically than you would on its own. Then a couple of other lip items I've been using a lot. I'm still using this pink lipstick a lot. This is from Guerlain. This is number 76 from the spring collection. This is limited edition. I haven't really seen it available anywhere, but it's just like it's called Pearly Rosewood. It's like the perfect light soft pink, and you can see there's like a little bit of a pearlescence to it, a little shimmer. Really love it. And then also this Chanel Rouge Coco gloss in number 722, Noche Moscata. And this was so kindly gifted to me from my giveaway winner from the Chanel giveaway, Allison. She so kindly sent this to me in return. It was completely unexpected, but it's a great nude gloss, and I've been wearing this a ton. So I've been topping my look a lot with this, especially when like I end up wanting to tone it down just a tad. This is like perfect. So let me show you a swatch of this one here. Go right there. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful shade. So again, thank you so much, Allison. That sums up everything for me for the month of February. I hope this was helpful, and I would love to know what you've been enjoying this past month and what items you're interested in. I cannot wait to continue going through all of my SUQQU palettes. I've really been enjoying them, and I'm really looking forward to some of the new releases that are coming out in March. So again, I do have the giveaway going on for the Dior Quince. So if you haven't checked the Dior ranking video, be sure to check that to see how to enter. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you very soon.